Hello everyone, and welcome back once more to the Shonen Showdown. I'm TheOutbackAl.
I'm hot for justice.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm TV New.
And I'm NV Jitters.
And we're back in whatever number week this is, of our first round of challengers. Last week we saw... Sorry, the weeks are all running together for me. Last week we saw My Hero Academia take down Blue Exorcist, and we have some other shows for this week. This week we watched Demon Slayer and Yu Yu Hakusho, two shows relatively about people fighting the supernatural and ghosts and goblins and shit. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Old school versus new school.
Old,
Yeah.
very old and very new. Well, not, I guess, very old. It came out the year I was born, so.
Older than me.
It's older than me too.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know I'm the old guy. This is always nice when you get to bring this up. I really enjoy it.
Just gotta remind you.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll start with the new one because that's the first one that I mentioned. So, Demon Slayer. What is Demon Slayer about? Demon Slayer is about a kid named Tanjiro who lives up in the mountains who makes charcoal. And he has a loving family, and they're wonderful, and they have an opening scene that's just, it's so much love and warmth, and you just know they're gonna die. And they do. Yeah, they get slaughtered by some demon, apparently. And except for Nezuko, who's still alive, that's his baby sister. Not the baby sister, but like just the younger sister. He's the oldest, so everyone's technically his baby sibling, I think.
Yeah.
She's still alive, but just barely, and he has to get her back down the mountain before she dies or something. But then she wakes up and she's a zombie or a monster or a demon or something. She tries to eat him. She like grows twice her size, grows teeth, has a forehead veins for days, claws, all sorts of shit. And he's like, well, I am lying in the snow, my younger sister growing twice her size on top of me, about to eat my throat out. This is about the worst day of my life. And then Johnny Young Boss shows up and starts smacking around his sister. And he's like, leave my sister alone. He's like, dude, she's a demon. She's going to eat you if I don't do this. And he's like, no, she won't do it. And he's like, yes, she's going to do it. And he's like, no, she won't do it. And he's like, yes, he's going to do it. Now I got to cut her head off. He's like, no, don't do it. I'm going to do it. Don't do it. I'm going to do it. Then they fight a little bit more. He throws a rock to distract him while he throws an axe in the air, but like he pretends that he's charging at him with an axe. So the axe nearly kills the guy, despite the fact that that Tanjiro could not. And then Nezuko gets loose and attacks Johnny Young Bosch because she's actually defending her human brother. And he's like, what the hell? This doesn't make any sense. She's a demon. So he knocks her out, muzzles her, lets Tanjiro wake up or whatever, and he sends him off to see some sensei dude with a Tengu mask who's going to teach Tanjiro how to be a demon slayer. And he's like taking him up a mountain and doing all this sort of stuff. And Johnny Young Bosch was basically like, hey, there's some real potential with this kid and the sister. I don't know what's going on, but we got to look into it. You need to train this guy. So he goes and trains the guy. And he's like climbing up a mountain, another mountain that they didn't live on before. And he's running down it, dodging booby traps and stuff. And he's really good at smelling stuff, so he can smell traps and things like that. He's able to do that stuff really well. He learns breathing techniques. He learns how to swing a sword. I'm sorry, I forgot the part where they actually fought a demon.
Yeah, I was like, did you skip that?
I totally skipped that. Yeah, so he's running around with Nezuko in a basket because she can shrink too. And yeah, they come to this temple looking for, I'm assuming looking for the dude. And they meet a demon who's eating people, and Nezuko kicks his head off, but the body's still alive, and the head's still alive and grows arms. And, they're fighting, doing stuff. The head gets pinned to a tree, which is like, wow, this was a very poor series of decisions that got me here today. And they kill the body, and the master shows up. He's gonna bash the head in with a rock, but he hesitates, and then the sun kills the demon. And then they go for training. Mountain stuff, running around, doing all that sort of thing. And then he meets some ghosts. After he learns all the sword techniques, he has to cut a boulder in half and Well, they don't say that they're ghosts, but we're pretty sure that they're ghosts.
Was that the third episode?
That was the third episode, yeah.
That was episode 3.
That was episode 3. He meets 2 ghosts who help with Master's teachings, and eventually he finds the way to cut the rock. And now he gets to go to an exam.
Yeah.
Again. End of episode 3. Everybody goes to take a
Every
test.
time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just kind of the thing, is like, okay, you get your momentum going, and then all of a sudden, okay, test time!
Yep.
Because this is, like, episode 3's point of, like, hey...
Point of no return.
We've gotten through our first little bit.
Yep. So, that's the plot. Why don't we discuss the plot? I thought the plot was pretty good. I thought, overall, you got decent character setups. You got understandable motivation. You got a direction that they're going in. They got to go find some demons. Tanjiro can smell. He's like a bloodhound. He knows everybody's scent, and like there was a scent that did not belong at the murder scene. So he's like, I know what that smells like. I'm going to find the demon who did this to my sister and everybody else and see if we can reverse this. So, Ari got a good motivation. I'm enjoying the character so far. Let's see here. What else? Each episode seems to be doing something. It's not really putzing around or anything. I give it a yay. Gav?
Yeah, so this is, I mean, basically just what you said, like, the character, like, the plot, like, so far, like, each episode has stuff going on, so it's not really, like, dragging or anything. It's like each episode is very interesting in its own way. And yeah, I mean, for like what's going on, like he has a strong motivation and I like that. That's good. It's always good to see in an anime, because if a character's just like doing something and we don't know why they're doing it, it's like kind of like okay, well, all right then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd give it a yay.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys said. I found it exciting throughout. The episodes were focused. They flowed well. Yeah, I give it a yay.
I will also give this a yay. So this is, I think, like, my second time.
We should mention that. Who's seen these shows so far?
Yeah.
I've seen, like, at least the first 6. Yeah, I've seen that many.
I think I've seen like half of it.
I've seen the full first season of Demon Slayer subbed.
I think that this is the first week where I've seen both of these shows, like almost in their entirety.
I've seen the whole of Demon Slayer, but I had not seen Yu Yu Hakusho. I think I only saw the first 1 or 2 episodes before of Yu Yu Hakusho.
So what were you saying, Chibi?
So this is like my second time around seeing these 3 episodes. And I will say that, like, kind of, like, from the get-go, I'm just kind of, like, sort of very drawn in to the story that I'm being told, which is, again, as we've been saying, this kid who is basically, like, trying to reverse, I guess, like, I'm not going to call it a curse, but it's basically like a curse. It's sort of like a curse theme, like on his sister, because she's been turned into a demon, which is like an interesting sort of element. It kind of reminds me of, sort of, oh god, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Oh yeah, for JoJo, they're trying to save Holly because she's, you know, being...
Which JoJo is this? Only saw the David productions?
Yeah.
No, it was from the OVA too.
This is Stardust.
Oh, okay. I've seen this.
This is Stardust Crusaders. Yes. So basically, it's like you're trying to save the loved one from whatever affliction they're going through, which is good plot point, very good. Not always something we see in Shonen, although we probably see it a lot more than I'm probably thinking. My brain, it's late. My head can't think. Head empty. No thoughts. Yes, no thoughts. Head empty. But yeah, no, I'd give this a yay. It's got a good strong start. These 3 episodes were uh, pretty good. They basically make me want to continue watching after we're done. So, yay.
That's what a good episode should do. Envy?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much what everyone said. It definitely has a strong start, and I mean, I remember in 2019 seeing the trailer for the show when it came out, and so I already knew going in what the show would be about. But it was, and yeah, obviously, whenever you have the family in the beginning all happy, that's like death flags all over it. But
Yeah.
it's still effective, especially with Tanjiro trying his best to like hold back his sister from not killing him, and then also not, realizing like, it's like she's not trying to stop him from getting her from getting killed, because that's like that's the last of his family. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it definitely pulls you in on that aspect. And yeah, obviously we get, the introduction to the world, and I think they did a good job getting you into the world. So yeah, I give it a yay.
Cool. So it seems like a yay all around for the plot so far. Why don't Gav, you take us into world building real quick, because Envy mentioned that a minute ago.
Okay.
Or no, I'm
So-
sorry, characters. We go characters and then world building. I'm like,
Yes.
you give me a perfect segue, and I just wanted to take it. Characters instead, because you can't have a
Alright.
story without characters. I'm trying to save this.
Yes. See, Tanjiro is I think he's very good. He seems like real responsible and motivated and like interesting, and I just liked him a lot. Like when I first watched, I was like, oh, like this is a good boy. This is a boy I can get behind. And yeah, he's real good. And then there's I'm trying to think who else we meet. We meet Nezuko, but like as a human briefly.
30 seconds of
and
dialogue
yeah.
before they
And
become
as-
narcoleptic muzzled berserker.
Yeah, yeah. And Nezuko, I think she seemed like she'd be a likable character as like a human, and then like when she was a demon, she's just like badass, except for when she's sleeping. But I mean, when she was like awake as a demon, she's pretty cool. So I like her a lot too, and I like her design a lot. I love these character designs; are really really nice. And then the sensei, the Uroko Daki, I think is his name.
Something
Whatever,
like
I'm
that.
just gonna call him sensei. He was like, like reasonably tough on Tanjiro. And I thought that was like good for his character too. Like he wasn't like going easy. Like he was like nice to him in a way where he was like taking him in because he was training him, but he wasn't going easy on him at the same time, which I think is like good for that kind of like relationship that's going on. And I'm trying to think who else we meet. I guess we meet Giyu for a little bit, but we don't really know a whole lot about him. And yeah, I guess the characters are cool. I like them, so I'd give them a yay.
I think for me, the characters are very okay. I don't really get that much from them in the first 3 episodes. I'd say they're very likable, but I don't know. I don't get much development or much of an idea. Like, I can see the motivations and everything, but I don't know. I don't get that much compelling things from the characters in the first 3 episodes. I do know as the season goes along, because I've seen the whole season, that that changes a little bit, but I don't know. They were a little bit flat for me in the first 3 episodes if I'm just going off of these. I don't think they were the highlight of the first 3 episodes for me. I think that these episodes had a lot of better things going on than the characters. I mean, I really loved some of the other portions of it, but I thought they were okay. Like, I definitely don't think they're bad. They just didn't wow me in these particular episodes. So I'd call it more of a meh for me on characters.
Um,
Jubei?
so for me, with the characters, I do like Tanjiro. I like his motivations. He's just hella determined to like basically be able to train so he can be able to take this test. Oh my god, this kid. Um, Nezuko, she's just granted she's not really doing a whole lot and she seems very sweet when we do actually get to see her character moments, but when she's a demon, she's either feral or she's just very cute or asleep.
She's cute.
And honestly, like to me that's just she's super cute and it's very comical to like have basically sort of like your tank character be like the really cute one. So I just find that just it's kind of funny just to have that juxtaposition of the roles. For the sensei, I thought he was like a good teacher character, you know, like pushes him to do his best, but at the same time like isn't going to hold his hand to like help him do it cuz Tanjiro took a very long time with all that training cuz like he basically gives us like little like time skips for when he like doing the training. Like it took him 6 months to finally break that boulder.
And that was after a year.
Yeah. Well, 6 months with like what was it, Sabito, I think, and then another 6 months with the little girl. I forget her name.
No, he was training on the mountain for a year.
Yeah.
Then he was given the boulder test, and then it was 6 months of the two of them.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like 6 months to try and break the boulder.
Yeah.
So, like, it shows like he's got determination. Like, I don't know. I feel like other people would basically like sort of give up at some point, but he didn't. The two the Fox children, that's just what I'm gonna call them, the ghosts.
Oh yeah.
They're interesting, they're cute. They're good characters. Like I like how like they're kind of basically sort of opposites of each other, where the one's like really challenging and also very much more the like physical aspect of his training, and also little girl's more like the techniques, and she kind of like basically like helps teach him. So that was good. I liked that. Giyu's interesting. I'm really hoping that we get to see more of him later, mostly just because like I feel there's a lot there that we kind of get with his inner monologue that we don't really get from his character in these first 3 episodes. So, overall, I'd say I'm a yay for characters, because I think there's like real potential, like to see like what else they can do.
I guess I'm a yay with the characters too. I like Tanjiro a lot. I mean, I like his motivation of him trying to protect his younger sister no matter what. I mean, as someone who has a younger sibling, I know what it's like to want to protect them. Not Nezuko. Obviously, she doesn't technically have a lot of character, but yet I still remember watching the show every week, and everyone was like, must protect, and it's like, yes, you must protect Nezuko at all costs. Giyu, I liked that he pretty much went against rules and regulations to keeping her alive. I kind of liked that about him, and I liked the other characters too. Yeah, we don't know a ton about them right at the beginning, but I think they're interesting enough that you want to keep following them. And as someone who has seen the full season of Demon Slayer, obviously this won't affect the general score right now, but Tanjiro's best boy, so yay.
Okay, so I'm going to have a hard disagree with you, because I have also seen the full season of this. This has nothing to do with what I have to say about these 3 episodes, but Tanjiro is not best boy. Inosuke is best boy. But
there's a difference. There are different kinds of best boy.
Yeah, well, I think it just says about who we are, who that our best boys are what. But anyway, these 3 episodes, I'm kind of in agreement with you. I'm a soft yay on this, because on the one hand, you're right, everyone's likable, everyone has potential, like what you guys are saying, but at the same time, it's like, do I know much about you personality-wise yet? Not really. Nezuko has lost all personality at this point, which is kind of unfortunate, but I still like feel like there's potential because like I did like that one scene right where she's like trying to kill him, but at the same time she's also crying because she doesn't want to. So there is still character there, and that is a kind of an emotional scene that's very nice. I like that. So soft yay. I don't want to say hesitant, but like I don't want to give them the hard yay yet, just because I'm like I want them to show me a little bit more of themselves. So, but overall it seems pretty yay for characters. I don't have a goddamn segue. Whatever. World building. Yin, why don't you take it away?
Okay. I really like the world building in this show. I think it's always really clear how the world is, and it has that kind of I don't know, like it's set in the past. I think it's set in like the 1920s or something, but it's in more of a rural area. For most of it, though they go to the city later on, but in these 3 episodes it's set in the rural area of Japan in like the 1920s or 30s, and I just think it's a very cool and interesting setting. I think that they make it clear, even though they don't go into the demons that much right away, I think they make it pretty clear what the demons and demon slayers do and how it works overall, especially once he starts working with the teacher character. And we get more of that later on too, but I think even in these 3 episodes, everything is extremely clear and the world is set up in a really natural way. It all makes sense, and I think it all really serves the story well. So I really like the world building. I'd give it a definite yay.
I'm gonna be in agreement with you here. I do feel like it's all pretty clear and well drawn out. So yeah, I feel like I would have liked to get a little bit more. Just like with, I guess, the world building in general. Like, I guess maybe a little bit of an exposition dump on the demons, although I'm pretty sure that'll get slowly fed to us, just kind of like as we go. But I would have, like, I guess, sort of maybe from the get-go, kind of wanted to see how, like, they are viewed in this world, and just kind of like maybe some of the lore that, like, you know, we're in a rural setting, that, like, I guess the communities would tell about these demons, and like what kind of stories they have, and like local legends, sort of things like that. I don't know, I guess like just a tiny bit more, so it feels like I'm really getting immersed in it. So I guess I'm leaning more of like a light yay for world building.
I mean, I personally thought the world building was pretty good. I like how they show the weaknesses of the demons. You know, that you have to cut off their head, and you know, basically almost like the Titans from Attack on Titan, right at the nape, and obviously they're weak against sunlight. So obviously that's good to know down the line for other demons. And yeah, I mean, obviously the and not so much the world building itself, but I love the atmosphere of the show. You feel the areas that you're in, and obviously that goes with the animation, which we'll talk about later. But I feel like the world setting up, the setup of the world and the environments really add a lot to the world itself. So I give it a yay.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a yay too on this. You know what it actually reminded me a bit of? Jujutsu Kaisen. It's kind of like you're kind of sitting there in the normal world for a little while, then bam, you are suddenly thrown into a fight with monsters, and you got to adapt. Granted, Tanjiro doesn't need a finger, but you know he probably could have improved this plot a little bit had he just eaten a finger from somebody. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is an A for me. I don't know. No, this was good. I feel like really what's similar to this in Jujutsu Kaisen was that it's kind of that slow but constant drip feeding of like information as you need it. Like, it's pretty easy to say that the demons are bad. You get a little bit about the demon slayers. You get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like, and then in episode 3, like they kind of switch gears. They're not talking about demons so much, but they are talking about how do you fight a demon. So we did actually learn a little bit about that. So yeah, I feel like each episode I did learn a little bit more about this world, and I think that definitely worked. So yeah, I'm a yay.
Yeah, I'd say that I'm also a yay. I mean, I think the world worked really well. Um, like, especially what Envy had to say about, like, the atmosphere and stuff, like, that was, like, real nice. I don't know, like, I feel like they did a good enough job, like, explaining it for the first 3 episodes, where, like, they didn't, like, info dump too much about, like, stuff. Like, you can figure out that, like, throughout the series you're gonna learn more about the demons. But, like, I didn't need to know all that information from the get-go, since it was mainly just, like, Tanjiro training. So I'd still say that, yeah, it's a yay.
Okay, sounds like overall this is a pretty solid yay for everybody. I'm sorry, I had to laugh for a minute because you kept saying that he was your boy, and now the demon's like, "Hey, what's up, demons? It's your boy." Anyway, yeah, this is a yay for world building. Or what am I talking about? Yeah, world building.
World
right?
building.
Sorry, I'm getting turned around a little bit in my head because we keep mentioning other categories in these, which, like, I will give this. I think, like, this show incorporates all of its elements and they all kind of flow into each other, which is probably why this is happening. So let's flow on into art and animation. Chibi, you want to take it off?
Okay, so uh the art and animation for this, oh, it's so good. This anime was done by Ufotable, which very good studio. They're doing very kick-ass with their 3D animation, because, like, while I can still tell that, like, a good bit of this is, like, 3D animated, it's not, like, really jarring to see, unlike some other animes that I have seen where they use 3D animation, because you can clearly tell, and, like, sometimes it's done really, really well, and sometimes it's done very seamlessly, and this is done fairly, if not almost seamlessly. So the art style for this is also just very good. The character designs are very good. It's just so picturesque, and they have so much nice scenery. And I'm sorry, it's so pretty. I'm a yay. What can I say? It's so nice looking.
Yeah, I mean, this, and if you thought like the UFO Table has done like the modern Fate Stay Night series, and if you thought that those shows looked good, I mean this show just blows it out of the water. It's as far as TV anime is concerned, it's the most gorgeous anime I've ever seen on like a technical level. Obviously, you can debate on art style, but like as far as presentation and just pure technicalness, I this is like top tier. Like it's almost unfair how good looks, and yeah, it's a high yay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I got some Berserk vibes out of this CG. I couldn't really get into it that. No, it's Ufotable.
I was gonna be like, what?
Yeah, you know, you guys are right. Like, you can kind of tell sometimes, but even then, it's like it still looks good, and that's such a rarity in anime to be like, oh my god, they're using CG, and it looks good.
Yeah.
And like the art style, also like. One thing I want to bring up, like the patterns with the clothing and that. They're simple and yet they're intricate, and everyone's got like a nice style. Everyone, like something I bring up every now and then is like, with the character design and that, I want everyone to look distinct. I want everyone to look like I'm not going to confuse this character with someone else. And this is another one of those shows where you really can't, because everyone is kind of given almost like their own color palette, their own, I mean, obviously hairstyle and stuff like that, but like everyone is given their own character through their character design as well, which everyone should do, but this one does particularly well, I think. So, yeah, on top of that, I'd just be parroting what you guys are saying. So I'm a yay on this animation. Go UFO Table.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna parrot, I guess, everyone. I think the animation is really, really beautiful. And yeah, even though it's like, like 3D esque, like at points. It's like not bad. It's like really good, in my opinion. And that I think my biggest point for this would be the character design, like Al said. I just, especially like with the patterns, I love all the different patterns that they have going on, and I love that everyone's is like different.
Because like you usually see like when they do like a kimono or something, it's usually just a solid color. But from what I'm aware of, that's not how it usually is in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think they did a really good job with that. And the eyes, I love the freaking eyes, man. Like,
Oh, they're so nice.
Yeah, they're so nice. They're so like unique and everything, and I just think it looks amazing. And so yeah, I'd give it a yay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna echo what everybody else said, that it is just gorgeous. One of the most beautiful animes I've ever seen. Maybe one of the most beautiful just animations in general I've ever seen. And I love the character designs too. I would just also add that I think the backgrounds are really good. I remember when I first watched the scene where he was trudging through the snow with Nezuko on his back. I just thought it looked so amazing. Like, I just felt like I was in it. Even though, like, a lot of it was CGI, like you guys said, it didn't look bad at all. Like, it actually looked really beautiful.
It's like one of those, you actually have to, like, look for the CGI.
I mean, I can tell it's there, but it looks good, you know? And it all, like, flows together. And I think it actually really works with the animation. Then when they show, like, little villages, like Tanjiro's in the beginning when he went to, like, run an errand or something, like, I think it really just all brings you in. I just think it's absolutely stunning the way that the animation is. It's definitely one of the strengths of this anime. And I mean, it really, I don't know, like, it's hard to compare it to anything else. It's just so original in its designs, and I don't know, it's just very beautiful. It's a hard yay.
Hard yay? It sounds like a pretty hard yay overall for everybody. Yeah, you can't go wrong with UFO Table. Or Mappa, for that matter. That's a conversation for a different day. The conversation we should be having right now, though, is sound and dubbing. Who's taking this one? Envy? Is this you?
Okay. I'll preface this by saying I saw the sub first. This is my first time hearing the dub. I mean, Johnny Young Bosch is Gio. You've heard his voice once. You've heard it 1,000 times.
He's always Johnny Young Bosch.
I forget who did Nezuko, like, when she isn't a demon. She only has, like, a few lines.
Who was that?
She only has, like, a few lines of dialogue, but she sounded okay. The master and the two spirit kids, they're pretty good too. But if I'm gonna be completely 100% honest, I love Tanjiro as a character, and I loved his sub voice. I'm not a big fan of his dub voice. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's the worst I ever heard, but I almost feel like at times the voice to me doesn't fit the character. Like, he doesn't sound like he's supposed to. Like, again, maybe I'm too spoiled with the sub because I think his sub voice sounds perfect for him, but I mean, I don't think he's terrible, but I just don't think I'm a fan of him, so I give it a meh with the dubbing. But as far as, you know, the other the sounds, the other sounds within the show, like the sound effects and like the sound and the music, it's also really good too. So that's my only real complaint.
Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot to complain about here. I think the dubbing was pretty good. There's not like whole lot that stands out about it to me. Everyone's doing a good job. No real like lines that I'm like really want to point out. The score, though, the score is great. Like, we really don't.
There is a reason for that.
We don't bring up scores that often because the only time we would bring it up is when it's like really good, and this is a really good one. It helps, along with the animation and everything else. It really helps set a scene and get you in like the right mood for whatever's happening. So, I mean, if anything, like I'm almost saying like probably their score is better than their dubbing, but that's mostly because I feel like their dub is just it's okay, it's good. No complaints, but also no highlights, really. So, but I give it that's an overall yay for me.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with the voices, to be honest. Like, I automatically, like, I recognized Tanjiro's voice straight away, and I was like, who is that? And then when I realized it was, Zach Aguilar? I'm not sure how to pronounce
Yeah,
his
Zach
last name.
Aguilar. Yeah, I like him as a voice actor, but just for some reason it didn't work for me. But I can understand it working for other people.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, where do I know that voice? And then I, like, was looking at his, like, filmography and stuff, and I realized that he voiced, like, the where I had recognized him from is that he had voiced Oda from AI The Somnium Files. Um, and I was like, oh, that's interesting because Oda's kind of a little shit.
I thought you were gonna make a JoJo reference.
No, um, no, Oda's kind of a little shit, but it, like, I still thought the voice worked for Tanjiro, so I was like, okay, like, yeah, I can. It's not too bad. And yeah, the music's just beautiful, and all the sound effects and everything is really nice. Like, it just is so atmospheric. And it really, like, drags you in and, like, envelops you in, like, what's going on. So I'd give it a yay.
Yeah, for me, I was kind of in a similar position as Envy, where I watched the whole thing subbed first, so I was very used to and attached to the voices in the original, and I think Tanjiro's subbed voice is really, really good. I agree, it really matches him well. So it was a little bit odd to hear the sub. I remember when I first watched the show, I watched like 1 or 2 episodes in the middle dubbed, and it was just very, like, strange to me, so I switched back to the sub. But I don't know, hearing it again, it was okay. Like, it was kind of standard. I wouldn't have many complaints about it necessarily. It just didn't stick out to me, and I would just rather watch the sub. I think it just works better. But the dub's okay. But I think, like, I will still give this category a yay because I really love the music. Like, the score is so fantastic. I don't always, like, recognize scores or really listen to them that hard in anime, but this one really sticks out, and it really sets the mood of the scenes very well, and it really, like, dramatizes it in a way. So I think the score is so beautiful, and the sound effects are really good, that despite the kind of mediocre dubbing, I'm gonna give it a yay anyway.
So I'm actually a bit of a hard yay on this. As for dubbing, I actually think everyone did really well. Tanjiro's voice is a little bit different than what I was expecting, but it's not off-putting, so I'm not mad with it. I'm not really mad with anyone's performance, if I'm gonna be very honest. And there is a reason why. Y'all love the music, and I love it too. One of the composers for this show is Yuki Kajiura, who also did music for Madoka.
That makes sense. I was noticing like a lot of chorus stuff in there every now and then.
It does sound like that.
She's legendary in anime. Like, she's, like, if you look up her filmography, she's done a lot of big shows over the years.
But yeah, like, when I was looking through, just, like, reading a little bit up on the show, I was just like, oh, she did the score, and I was so excited. Or she's at least one of the 2 composers who did scores for the show. So I was super excited when I saw she was listed. I was like, yes, my fave, she's here. But yeah, so definite hard yay, especially for the music. It's just, oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like big yays all around. We've been talking a lot about music. Let's talk about openings and endings. I think I'm leading this off. Okay, so soft yay here. I think the opening is great. I don't remember the ending that well, but I have a bit of an issue. And this isn't so much an issue with the show, so much as common practices nowadays. I watched this on Hulu for the dub. They cut the theme song in half.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
They
Yeah.
do that
Ew.
a lot nowadays to save on time because like everyone knows anime openings and endings are like a minute, minute and a half, something like that. But for American television, you're generally allotted 30 seconds to maybe a minute for theme song stuff, which is why a lot of dubs in the early days made their own theme songs because they just didn't want to license and fit and like do all of those sort of stuff. Nowadays, no one really does that anymore. And I was noticing this on Toonami after it came back a couple years ago that they started like cutting down the theme songs. Like with Demon Slayer, they just start right at the chorus.
Ooh.
It doesn't have the build up. And that's not to say that the chorus is bad, but I like the build up. And I get why a TV show, like on TV, cable, and that would want to do that. They want to fit in another 30 seconds of commercials. But a streaming service should not be doing that. So this is more of a
Yeah, they
problem
didn't
with
do
Hulu.
that. They didn't do that
Yeah.
on Crunchyroll at all. I don't know
Yeah.
why Hulu would do
Yeah, I
that.
was
Yeah.
gonna say, I'm like, for some reason, I remember it being a lot longer. Why is it so short?
Yes. I don't know what Netflix is going to do because we're recording this on Thursday. The Netflix is coming out with it tomorrow. So I don't know whether they're going to cut it. The only
Oh.
reason I could think that they were doing that is because they wanted you to get through the episodes faster so that they could get to ad rolls faster. Because Hulu does still have ads.
Mm,
And
Yeah.
it's just
that's true.
yeah. So I
You
don't
got
even know that
Jeff, man.
I could count it against the show.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
just
so.
I just wanted to take a minute to talk about that because I just on principle I think that's just a bad thing that people do.
Here's the thing, too. I watched stuff on Hulu before, and they didn't cut the opening or endings. Is it only if like you have like the free subscription that they cut the opening?
Maybe.
See, that's possible.
Free subscription.
Or like
I was gonna say,
I
I
don't
am
have the
on
premium.
the subscription that's. I don't have premium. I do pay for it.
Yeah,
though,
they have a basic
And,
thing
yeah,
and then
it
a
was cut in
premium
half.
where you don't have ads or anything like that.
But I don't know.
Maybe you need to be premium. That's stupid, though.
It is because
Yeah.
again, it's like this isn't one of those things where you have to cut out ad time and schedule it. Your ads just come right in the middle. You're gonna get your time no matter what. Anyway, the actual opening, good song. I enjoyed it. Animation's good. All that sort of stuff. Ending, I don't remember that well, if I'm being honest. And I don't really remember what they had going on with animation with it. For the Hulu one, they just had like some still images. Was that all it was? Or
That's
did
pretty
they
much
have
what
more?
it was,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it was.
All right,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
But yeah, opening definitely a yay. Ending, I'll give it a meh to a soft yay because I don't remember it that well, but I don't remember hating it, and I usually will remember disliking something.
Yeah. So I really like the opening. I think it's catchy. At first, like when I watched it, I was kind of like, this opening's okay. But like the more I watched it, like I think I got more used to it. And watching it this time around, I'm like, yeah, this is a kick-ass opening. But like I feel kind of like the same way with the ending. Like I do remember it. But it's not like that great. It's just kind of like soft, and which I guess is like most anime like has like that go get 'em kind of like opening and then the like softer like closing, or vice versa depending on which anime you're watching.
Yeah.
But it's like it's just kind of, it's all right. It's like a pretty song. And it has like Nezuko as the like animation, but she's not really like doing much. It's kind of like a still image of her. But that's like it was okay. I'd still give like the openings and endings like a yay because I do really like the opening. So
I actually really love the opening and the ending in this one. I mean, the opening, like everybody said, is really a pretty epic opening. I love the build of it, so that is disappointing that Hulu would cut it. But I don't know, I just really love the opening. Like the song is great. I think the animation looks good, just like the rest of the show looks good. I really like some of the action they put in the opening. I don't know, it's just such a great song. I would never like skip it or anything. And
Unless you're
actually,
forced to skip half of it.
yeah, that's bad. But
That's so
and actually,
stupid.
the ending, I thought was really good too. Like, it was a really pretty song, and I actually liked the visuals, even though nothing was happening. I think the still images were really nice. Like, I liked the way that they were animated. It was I think it was kind of an interesting style. I believe it was a little bit different. It kind of looked classic in a way. I don't really know how to describe it, or like maybe slightly traditional. I think they both just really fit like the two different moods of the show, like the mood that's more hyped in the beginning, and then like the softer moments that come in Demon Slayer that are more like emotional or focused on the family and things like that. So I think that they both like really represented the show well, and they fit like the aesthetic of the show very well, and the music was good. So I would actually give both of the songs a yay.
So I really like the opening song. The animation's really good. Obviously, we've been saying that. Like, it was really catchy, and like even now, I kind of like am still having it play in my head.
Same.
As we're talking about it. The ending is a song that's like I also really like, and another thing with it is just like the song is performed by Fiction Junction, which is actually one of Yuki Kajira's like I guess like singing group projects that she directs, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and two of the singers that are in that group are actually from Calafina, which is like the trio that sings like some of the Madoka.
The stuff that always gets.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
copyrighted.
bringing that up, Chibi, because I was waiting so long to mention that in a podcast, and I didn't want to nerd everybody out, and I was like, I love.
Hey, Envy, I want you to do me a favor. Please stop thinking that you can't nerd out on a fucking nerd podcast. I don't know what your holdup is, man. I told you so many times you're allowed to nerd out. We have a specific gush section to encourage this sort of thing. I don't know when it's going to get through to you, man.
But yeah, so when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, they're here. I'm so excited. All of my favorite things in the music. They're all here. Okay, yes, good, very good. So yeah, they're both a yay for me.
Envy, you want to give us an early gush session?
Yeah, you're definitely going to get it, because out of the 5 shows that we've watched so far, this is easily the highest.
We watched 8 shows. This is the 7th.
Right. Oh, darn memory lapse. Okay, out of all the shows
Hey, man,
that we've
I
been
was
watching
having it
so
earlier,
far, out of all the shows we've watched so far, this is, if we could have a category higher than a yay, I would give it a higher than a yay, because I
give it a fuck
freaking
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's a fuck yay. Both are a fuck yay. Yes, because I fucking love both of these songs to death. Like the opening Garange by Lisa, who's done a lot of OPs over the years. You can look up her film or discography. She's done a lot. She also sings the ending too. It went platinum. Not in Japan. No. It went in Japan. It went platinum in the US. That's how popular that song was. So, and it was like, I first watched the show not knowing what to expect, but man, when that opening came on, it was a freaking banger.
Right?
Like, holy shit. Like, and the ED, yeah, I agree. The static images could probably turn some people off, but I kind of liked it. And the song itself is also very beautiful too, and it's very atmospheric too. Although I will admit, later on in the show, that song was the ultimate blue ball song, because like it would end on a cliffhanger, and then you see the fucking roses come up, and you hear that song. It's like, damn it, I gotta wait another week for the next episode.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No more waiting anymore. Just binge the shit out of it.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't say enough of good things about the opening in ED. It's a fuck yay.
All right, fuck yay. Well, I mean, overall, yeah. That's when you get a fuck yay. That's kind of that's a pretty hard yay overall. Well done. What's next? Are we on to final thoughts now? Yeah,
I guess
think
so.
we are. Gav, why don't you lead us in there?
All right. Yeah, I really like the show a lot. I think it's very interesting. It makes me want to keep watching to see like what happens next. Especially because I haven't watched all of it yet, but I'm getting there. I'm just very bad at watching shows. Like, I can't binge stuff like most people do.
That's a
I don't
problem
know.
when you're on this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I like the show a lot. And I definitely would give it a yay.
Yeah, I love this show. I mean, after watching the first 3 episodes, I was definitely really excited to watch the rest. And I watched the whole season, like, so much faster than I often watch shows because it sometimes takes me a long time, too. But this one, I kind of zoomed through, like, very quickly because it's just so exciting. And the first 3 episodes set that up really, really well. And there's some arcs that come later that are just amazing. Like, really amazing. Like, some of the best episodes of anime you will ever see.
Hey now.
But
Hey now. You're a rock star. Keep it to the first 3 episodes.
I digress. The first 3 episodes are still fantastic. I mean, in every aspect.
You can nerd out in the gush section.
Yeah, but what if it makes it?
You can still gush. Well,
I don't know.
don't gush too hard.
I won't gush too hard because I might spoil things, but I have a lot of gushing about this anime. It's like honestly one of the best anime I've seen in recent years. And it just keeps getting better in my opinion. I'm excited to see the movie later too. Anyway, it's a yay, obviously, from me. It's very much a yay.
Keep it.
I mean, what can I say? I've basically gushed about music, the ending, opening, animation. I like pretty much everything about this. So, yeah, it's a yay for me. Hey, you, no hairballs.
I didn't do
None of
anything.
that.
Come on.
Sorry, Houdini's just on top of my lap and he's like hiccuping right now. So, I'm like, baby, no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, and I've already seen the full show, or at least the full season, but if it was like a brand new show that just came out with only the first 3 episodes, yeah, I would still want to watch the full thing to see what happens next, what's going to happen with Nezuko and Tanjiro, and what other wacky characters we're going to meet later on. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So yeah, it's a yay for me.
I'm along the same lines. I watched this entirely as well. I think when you were on your second run of it.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, and like looking back on these 3 episodes, I absolutely know that like you did not have to force me into watching more of it. So
Right.
yeah, it's a yay. It's definitely I would want to continue watching this. Gav?
I already did mine.
Oh, God, why did I think that you had to finish it? Anyway, yeah, it seems like a yay overall on basically every category. That's a tough contender right there when you get, like, all yays. But let's see if the new guy and or old guy, whatever we want to consider it, the second contender of today, Yu Yu Hakusho, can hawk it. So Yu Yu Hakusho starts with our main character dying. Great start. But then we get to flashback to see that Yusuke Urameshi is a delinquent youth who wears green to school when he's supposed to wear blue, hangs out on rooftops and is a bit of a perv and looks up girl skirts and stuff, but then gets his ass kicked for it. So comeuppance is comeuppance.
Yep.
Yeah, he does not. He's got. He actually kind of... Well, I'll talk about it in character. But he doesn't really like or respect authority, mostly because they don't respect him either. And he leaves school looking to just go around doing his thing. He runs into a ugly redhead dude who he just kicks his ass a little bit. And then sees some kid playing soccer on the street. And he's like, hey, don't do that. You can't do that. You're going to get hit by a car or something. But then he plays with the kid a little bit, like makes faces at him, and he's like, "Hey, now get out of here! Don't play around traffic." So the kid starts playing around traffic again, and he's like, "Well, you know what? That kid can get hit by a car for all I care." So then a car comes speeding down the road, and the kid's in the middle of the road, and Yusuke, in a moment of unexpected altruism, jumps into the road to push the kid out of the way and gets hit by the car himself, killing him, it's presumed almost instantly. Yeah, now he's a ghost, and a girl on an oar named Botan is telling him, hey, you're dead. So let's deal with that. Anyway, he finds out that his death was completely meaningless because apparently the car was going to swerve, and they don't have a place for him in the afterlife. So he might have the chance to go back and get back into his body. But he's like, nah, I don't really care about that. But then they have a roundabout It's a Wonderful Life journey where he sees how his life affected other people, both positively and negatively. And he's like, you know what? Maybe I should try to continue living. So they go to the spirit world, get a magical golden egg from an ogre controlling baby, and he says it's either going to turn into you're going to pump your vibes into it, and if it's bad vibes, you're going to get eaten by the monster that comes out, or if you put in good vibes, it'll turn into something that'll allow you to enter your body again.
Yeah.
Then he goes back, he's trying to vibe with the egg, but he has to tell everybody, hey, we're Japanese, they're going to cremate my body, don't do that. So he starts entering people's dreams to get them to try to not do that. Doesn't really work. Then he possesses Kuwabara, the big, ugly, redheaded dude, and he gropes his childhood friend to get her attention, which apparently she does not have that many qualms about, because she is thirsting so hard for Yusuke.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's wow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so she's like, oh, I'll tell your mom not to burn your body. And so mom wasn't going to burn the body anyway because she opened up the box and was like, I wanted to hit him one more time. But then I found out, oh, his heart beating in that. So, we'll keep him around for a while, see what happens. Yeah, and then Kuwabara has a test and has to not fight and because school things, and Yusuke's helping him as a ghost friend.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's where we're at. Still trying to vibe with that egg. Plot time. Yin, I think you're kicking us off on plot.
I liked the plot of these first 3 episodes pretty well. I thought that it started out really good with the kind of showing us, him dying at first, and then it gives us the backstory of, how he got to that point. I think the 3 episodes moved pretty well. There were a couple of parts where I felt maybe it was a little bit slow. I don't know. I guess I expected once he, I guess got his body back or whatever, that he would actually go back into his body, but that didn't happen. I was a little bit confused, but I think, Al tried to explain to me, the egg thing a little bit more, and then it made a little bit more sense. So I think, I was confused for a bit, why things weren't happening faster. But overall, I was interested the whole time. I think the plot was, pretty strong. I was invested, so I would give it a yay overall, even though there were some parts where I felt a bit confused or a bit uncertain. I think it was a strong start, so it's a yay.
I'm gonna be a light yay on the plot. So sort of an interesting start, but if not a bit of a slow start, where we're just sort of kind of getting introduced sort of to the world of the spirit world and the land of the dead, I guess, kind of ish. And just kind of what the afterlife is sort of like, and just I feel there's a good bit of stuff that happens in these first 3 episodes, but then also not a lot that happens, because mostly we're just dealing with Yusuke and the aftermath of his death and him trying to get back into his body. So I mean, it's definitely interesting so far, but it's definitely going sort of slow, so I'm a meh to a light yay.
It's weird because in some aspects of the plot, I'm really? But then on some other parts of the plot, I'm like, you know what, this is actually kind of interesting because, like, obviously, we've seen, the whole you die and your soul leaves your body thing, but I like the idea of him trying to get back into his body and him trying to, you know, help people out when he really can't. Like he has to find clever ways to try and help the outside world. My big thing though is, and maybe this is something for characters, but like the only times we saw interactions between Yusuke and like his mother Kuwabara and the girl, I forget her name,
Kiko.
they were kind of Kiko. They were kind of antagonistic to each other, and I get it. I'm sure they did say that him and her were like childhood friends, and obviously she scolded him at the beginning of the episode because she cares about him and she doesn't want him to be a screw up. But like whenever they were going through the whole montage, everybody being upset and like saying how he was such a great person to them. I'm thinking, okay, well maybe that was something that was in the past, but we didn't really see him acting nice to them. We didn't see personally a reason why people would care about him. So that took me out a little bit. But yeah, like the idea of trying to. I like the idea of the egg. Is he going to turn out bad? Is he going to turn out good? Is that what's going to happen to him? And I kind of like the idea. I like the plot of the third episode a lot. I like that interaction they did with him and Kuwabara. So I'm kind of in the same vein as Chibi. I'm a light yay.
Yeah, this is another one of those shows where I've seen like basically all of it, but I'm like trying to keep myself to these first three. Yeah, I think I'm still a yay on this because I think it just sets itself up pretty well with its premise so far. I know the overall premise of the show is not just going to be him getting back to his body, but I feel like they're doing a good job of building up to that point. Like we are feeling an anticipation for it. And it's not just, oh, you're going to do this and then we're going to get into what the real plot is of him being like, I won't say. But yeah, I'm in agreement that it has a bit of some flaws. And maybe this is just some of our sensibilities nowadays where we just want it to get going really fast. Because like this is like nearly a 30-year-old anime. And the pacing is much slower in ones that are a little bit older sometimes. It just kind of happens that way. But even then, at no point did I feel like an episode felt wasted here, which is kind of saying something, because it's like, even if you're moving slow, I'm still feeling progress, and it feels like steady and consistent progress. So I'm going to give it a yay for that. And yeah, I do think that it's well, I'll get into the character stuff because like a lot of it is characters to me, but yeah.
I definitely like didn't think I was gonna like this show as much as I actually did. Like I went into it and I was kind of like, oh, like this is probably just gonna be like okay to me, like I don't know how I feel about the plot or anything, but then once I actually like got into it and it was like halfway through the first episode and I was like, yeah, I actually enjoy this. And I thought it was like real interesting that he's dead. I didn't expect that at all. Like I went into this not knowing a damn thing about Yu Yu Hakusho.
That is sometimes the best way to go into anything.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, like yeah, this is interesting. And I really liked I don't know, like I just really enjoyed watching it, whereas I didn't think I would. But so that kind of caught me by surprise. There were some parts where I was like, okay, maybe like pick up the pace a little bit with like I don't know, because I want to see like some of the other characters too that you see in the opening. But I mean, that's how I feel with like every show too. I'm like, oh, let me see like these other characters too. I feel that way with Demon Slayer as well. But like So not going off of that really, but just going off of how much I actually enjoyed it, I would give it a yay.
It was made by the Hunter x Hunter author, right?
Yeah, this is the manga he made before that.
Yeah.
I'm actually not surprised you
Oh.
enjoyed that. That was actually, I was like, you know what, Gab might
That
actually
makes-
enjoy this one.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, he likes protagonists in green. So.
All green.
Green in the dark
It
there.
all comes together.
Yeah. But it looks like overall it's a yay for this. Why don't we head on into characters? Chibi, are you taking us off? I think.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, let's see what you think.
So we've got our first character, Yusuke, who, as we've been saying, is a bit of a delinquent. I'm kind of okay, sort of, on him. I'm not really a fan of the perviness, but, like, he's kind of an interesting sort of character, kind of. I don't know. I'm not really compelled by him to keep watching it. I'm more compelled by everyone else. I like Botan. I think she's kind of interesting. A little peppy. Maybe a little too peppy, but I like her. Kuwabara is an interesting sort of character because he sees Yusuke as, like, his rival, but he's also just sort of like a big oaf who really just cares very deeply about his friends, which I'm just like, oh, you're an idiot with a heart of gold, I guess. That's nice. Keiko is, I like Keiko. I think she's cool. The mom was sort of funny, kind of. Honestly, I kind of just want to see the other two characters that they had in the opening, because I feel like I want to just, have us form the team, and then we go on, like, actual spirit adventures. And then, going and talking about all the other characters, we have a lot of very mean adults in this show.
Yeah.
As shown in episode 3, where, like, there are 2 teachers who are basically, like, trying really hard to get this one Kuwabara. They're trying to get him expelled, so he, like, can't get into fights after school. He has to ace an exam, or at least get a 50 on the exam, I think it was. And basically they are just, like, some nasty, nasty adults, and I feel like those are just, like, not great characters to put into a show that's supposed to, basically, like, show that, like, it basically is just giving off the impression that, like, adults don't really care about, like, the youth that are in their lives. I mean, and granted, that's probably true for some, but it's not true for all. And I feel like it's just, like, real bad. Although, I guess with Yusuke and Kuwabara, how, like, I guess their characters, like, because they're both sort of, like, delinquent characters. Those are the kinds of adults, or at least how they would view the adults in their lives. So, yeah. My opinion on the characters for this show is just kind of all over the place. Oh yeah, we also saw the baby that kind of rules the afterlife.
His name Krenma or
guess.
something? I forget his name sometimes. There's a lot of K names in this. I'm going to say that right now.
There are.
Like, you didn't even get to see half the K names.
Yeah. I know. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I kind of remember you from somewhere, because I do remember watching, like, an episode of this show, like, a long time ago, but it wasn't at the beginning. We were, like, in the middle of, like, the tournament arc.
Oh, the Dark World Tournament?
I think so, yeah.
I'm going to talk about that later if I need a guest session or something.
Okay. I do remember liking that episode quite a bit because it was on, and I was like, oh, this seems kind of interesting. But, like, these characters I'm kind of all over the place with them. Some of them I like, some of them I don't, and others I'm just kind of like, eh? So I think I'm kind of definitely, like, a meh on the characters for now, only because, like, yeah, we do get some, like, definitely clear personality and character traits for them, but I'm also just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I had characters that I liked a bit more, I feel like I would give them, like, a higher score. But again, that's a me thing.
Envy?
Envy?
Yeah, like Chibi said, I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to characters. When it comes to Yusuke himself, usually I'm not a huge fan of rebel characters that are against the authority. I know the main guy from A Blue Exorcist, I liked him. I forget his name, but he was
Ren.
good. But yeah, Ren. But I will say, as the episodes went on, I kind of warmed up to him a little bit, especially when he was trying to help others and interact with others. He almost kind of reminded me of what I wanted Bakugo to be for My Hero Academia. He almost kind of reminded me of what he should have been. Like, you can be rebellious, but you can still have a good heart, unlike him. But I'm done with
Bakugo
that
wasn't
bridge.
rebellious. He was just an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, Keiko is, your stereotypical, high school crush. I mean, I have a feeling she gets a lot more developed later on in the show, considering this has over 100 episodes. But for right now, she's kind of, the childhood best friend / crush. Botan, I kind of liked Botan. She was kind of quippy, and she kind of had the right attitude, like, especially dealing with him. Like, she played off him really well. I'll be honest, Kuwabara really surprised me. Like, at first I thought, oh, he's the stereotypical dumb bully, but like in episode 3, with him, going out of his way not to fight anybody at all for a week just to save his one friend's job. Like, good for you, man. That's a true bro right there. That's a true friend. I respect you. And the other characters I thought were okay. One of my biggest pet peeves in anime, there's different character traits that give me pet peeves in anime, and one of them is the snobby, pretentious asshole teacher, especially the bucktooth one. I couldn't stand him. So I'm kind of a light yay with characters.
I mean, I'm a hard yay on it. I think the one thing that these 3 episodes did was establish character very well, at least for 2 of the main cast. Like the first episode, you think you know what these people are like and what they're gonna do, but then they like turn around. They like instantly we're seeing character development. I don't know that there's that often that we see characters learning and growing like internally this early on in a show. And I thought that was really good. Like you guys mentioning Kuwabara in that. Again, yeah, you're right. That's a huge surprise. You're thinking this guy's just going to be like, oh, some dumbass who's going to be there for like comic relief. No, he's a main character, and you're going to love him. Yusuke seems like just a dick at first, and it's like, no, he's got more going on there, and yeah, he's a bit of a perv, and yeah, that's its own thing. But yeah, he's still like. And maybe part of it is his situation with the whole, wow, I just died. I'm really getting to reflect upon my life now. But yeah, he's already undergoing some pretty significant changes to his attitude, his outlook on life, how he wants to treat other people. And I'm like, that's big. You usually don't see that until like 2 or 3 arcs in sometimes. So, yeah, and like you guys are saying, like, I don't want to go into spoilers or anything, but like you guys are just kind of saying like, oh, you wanted to see Hiei and Kurama who are like the other 2 members of the team, like, because you're watching these characters develop right now, and you know that the character development is going to continue and it's going to be good with everybody, which it is. This is a very good show for characters, I think. So I'm a yay on this for character.
Yeah, I really like the characters, actually. Like, the first episode, I kind of thought, like, that Yusuke was a dick, and, like, that Kuwabara was, like, a dummy. But then, like, the more you get to see of them, throughout the first 3 episodes, I'm like, oh, like, I actually really like these characters, especially Kuwabara. Like, I thought he was, like, very, like, he's more than just, like, a delinquent with, like, a fighting problem. Like, he actually cares for his friends and wants to help them, and, like, you know, is serious about trying to get a good grade to, like, help them as well. And he's, like, emotional, and he's just a good character. And then Yusuke, he's not that bad either. Like, he's not as much of a dick as you think he is. Like, he helps that little boy, and he helps Kuwabara, even though, like, he doesn't really care for him. And I was just like, yeah, these are some good protagonists. I like seeing their development a lot. And the only people I couldn't stand were the damn teachers, but I'm sure, like, they're there as, like, secondary antagonists for, like, the first, like, couple, you know, at least for, like,
yeah, I'll spoil
the
it.
third
They're
episode.
only there for this first arc. If they're there anywhere else, they are barely there, if anything. They are
Yeah,
only
I
there to
kinda-
be a problem right now.
Yeah, I kind of figured that, so I don't think, like, I'm gonna judge it based on the teachers, because I know they're not gonna, like, be there. But yeah, if I'm going with, like, and then Photon is interesting. I think she was definitely, like, a good take on, like, the Grim Reaper. And yeah, I liked how Yusuke's mom ended up actually, like, caring about him and not just being, like, some drunk. But yeah, I really like the character development, so I'd say yay for the characters.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a yay for the characters too. I actually thought the characters were probably the strength that I saw in the first 3 episodes. At first, Yusuke I wasn't too sure about either, but I think, like, over the 3 episodes, I did see a lot of development in him, and I saw, like, a lot more to him, to the point where he did kind of feel like a person, you know? Which sometimes, like, some anime protagonists can be kind of flat, but he felt like more of a fully realized character to me, which I appreciated. I liked the blue-haired chick. I'm gonna go into the dubbing. I really didn't like her voice at all, but
Oh, you can go off if you want later.
I probably will, just because I was very frustrated. But I liked her as a character. I thought she was, like, a fun character to have around. She even had some funny lines and stuff. But I just feel like I'd like her so much better in the sub, but that's for a different category. I liked the little baby thing. His voice kind of bothered me too, but he was, like, he seemed pretty interesting. Like, the little bits that I saw of the spirit world seemed interesting with those characters. And I gotta say, yeah, the redhead guy, at first I thought he was gonna be, like, a bully character or something, but I think, like, the 3rd episode, it really did surprise me with his development. I thought that was well done. So, and I could see, like, how an interesting relationship between him and the main character would develop. So, like, the fact that I could see that early on, and I liked the main character's interactions with the blue-haired girl. I mean, all of the characters really clicked pretty well. I thought the friends, like, the love interest friend or whatever, was kind of whatever to me. I wasn't too interested in her. But I don't know, that I could change my mind. Like, we didn't see that much of her, so I wouldn't say she brings it down too much for me. She was all right. And I thought the mom and the dad were actually pretty interesting as, like, anime
Dad?
parents. Was there no dad?
No, his dad's not alright. Are you thinking of the principal?
Oh, is that who that was?
Yeah, that's the principal.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't yeah, I thought even though the teachers and stuff were mean, I wasn't, like, annoyed by them. I thought that they kind of filled the world a little bit. And I definitely thought that the mom, I don't know why I thought he was, like, a dad.
I think he is supposed to be a father-like
Oh,
figure.
okay.
I'm gonna be
I
honest with
totally
you.
messed
He's
up.
not there that much in the series either.
Okay.
I think he was just there to kind of show, like, yeah, there are people who are out to get you sometimes, but there's also people who are in your corner.
Okay.
Even if
Plot
you don't-
twist, he's his dad.
Hey, you never know.
Child.
You never know, but yeah.
All right. Well, the mom, anyway, I thought actually seemed like a pretty interesting character. Like, she wasn't just one of those. Why are you making that face?
She's not there that much either.
Oh, I thought she was gonna get some development. I don't know. I was kind of interested in her. That kind of sucks, but I don't know. At least they made me interested in her for 3 episodes, I guess. Overall, I'd consider it a yay for the characters. I liked them, and I was interested. I think they were what really kept me going throughout the 3 episodes, even when I got a little bit bored in parts. I thought they were still good.
I mean, it sounds like overall it's a yay for the characters. Um, the characters got to fill the world, and this time 2 worlds. So, Envy, you want to take us in world building?
I mean, the actual world. I mean, the first world's the human world. I mean, the human world. I did get a kick out of the spirit world where the main guy lives, and it's a freaking office space with a whole bunch of demons running it. That did get a chuckle out of me. I liked that. But yeah, the world building is mainly about the rules of the world and how Yusuke could come back to life and how he can interact with other people. And I thought, for the most part, they did a pretty decent job with that. So yeah, I give it a light yay.
Yeah. I'm a little in a meh area for some of the world building. I've definitely seen the bureaucratic afterlife element before. Not that it's a bad thing. I think I wanted a little bit more. Like, we are explained some stuff here and there about spirit world this, or you have to do this, but like they're never really like an explanation for why. And I think to some degree it's an element of it's just weird, just go with it, this is how it works, which is fine sometimes. But I think I was just looking for something a little bit more solid in this conceptual thing, I guess. Weird complaint, I know, but yeah, the world building was okay, but like again, I think with the focus on characters and stuff that you kind of had, because I think that was the main thing they wanted to do was build those up. I don't think they built up the lore and kind of world building of the spirit world as much. I do know they do it later, but I didn't see it here, so I'm gonna give it a meh.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I thought they could have done more with the spirit world, like, explaining it. I did like what we saw of it with the, like, I thought it was also funny with, like, the demons and stuff, like, being office workers. And I guess we got the explanation of, like, the coming back to life and, like, the little egg thing, that was going on and whatever, to bring Yusuke back. But I feel like they could have done more. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh because it's only the first 3 episodes. But I'd have to give it like a meh because of that.
Yeah, I think I was kind of meh on the world building overall. I didn't love it and I didn't dislike it necessarily. I think a lot of it was just kind of because maybe it was vague or we didn't see much of the spirit world or how it operated, which I understand he's kind of like between worlds right now. So I get that it's not the main focus right now. Right now it's about like him getting a different outlook on his life and stuff like that. But I think if we're thinking of like the world construction just in the first 3 episodes, I didn't really see much of it. So I don't really have many feelings about it one way or the other. It was just like, it didn't bother me, but it didn't make me say, wow, this is such an interesting world or anything, because I just didn't see much of it. So I would say it's a meh for now, but I could see it getting more interesting, especially once it gets into the spirit world more.
So for me, I'm kind of also in agreement with like us not really seeing a whole lot of the spirit world and like ghosts and just like how it all works. I feel like we could have really used like maybe an episode that kind of just focused very much like on the afterlife and the spirit world and all of that, just so like we kind of get the mechanics of like just how all that works, mostly just like to keep it from getting confusing and stuff. But I feel that like for right now. Like, I feel like it's going at a sort of pace where I don't really feel like it would. I feel like it would just bog down the pacing if we were to do something like that. So I think it's kind of like a bit of a difficult situation with trying to like build out the world for this situation while also trying to like do the plot. So I'm gonna have to give this like a meh to a light yay, I think. Because there is definitely potential here, and I know that there's probably going to be a lot more going on later, especially because supernatural elements and everything like that, because they've got a lot to work with as far as like folklore and everything. But yeah, I still feel like you could have used some work.
Yeah, it's kind of what it sounded like overall. It was a little on the meh side, but some leanings towards yay, a touch. Yeah, moving into art and animation. Am I leading off art and animation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait.
Wait.
Yes?
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
No. Yes. Okay, so art and animation. This is... I'm going to say for a show that's 30 years old, almost 30 years old. I'm not 30 years old. I think it looks pretty good. There's definitely been improvements made in the last couple decades in how, animation is done. But at the same time, like, the characters all... Again, we were talking about with Demon Slayer. They all look distinct. I'm not confusing anyone for anyone else. Even with the side characters, like, all of Kuwabara's gang, like, everybody looked different. Like, Kuwabara especially looks different. Yusuke looks different. I mean, like, everyone has their... Again, it's a situation of, like, making a character and making the character distinct for who they are. Like, Yusuke's kind of cool. He's got... Actually, I did kind of want to mention, he gave me a bit of a James Dean vibe. A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, and he kind of has that, almost a little bit of that look, almost. A little bit. Kind of like the way he kind of like walks around, the way like he kind of does up his hair and that. And Kuwabara is Kuwabara. I don't know any other way to describe him, but like he looks how he should look. I think everyone does in that way. So I'm a yay on this. It's primarily from the character design, because I think it just works for everybody.
Yeah, I really like the character design as well. I think everyone's very, like, unique looking, as Al said. It's, like, easy to tell them apart. They each have their, like, color schemes going on. Like, not just with, like, the main characters like Yusuke and Kuwabara, but, like, also with, like, Botan and stuff like that. And, like, Keiko, I could tell her apart from, like, the other girls, so that was good.
Even the background characters. Like, everyone's distinct.
Yeah, everyone is very distinct. And I, like, didn't think it was, like, bad animation for its time. Like, I think it held up pretty well. I thought that some of the, like, expressions that the characters made were, like, very funny. And that, like, kept me interested in it. So I'd give it a yay.
Yeah, I thought the animation overall was well done. I mean, it was 1992. It looks pretty good for its time, I think. And it still holds up in a way. It looks kind of classic. I like this art style. It's pretty cool. Everybody does look distinct, and you can tell a lot about who they are by the way that they look. Kind of like Al was saying about, what is his name, Kuwabara? Yeah, characters like that, like, you look at them and you know a lot about them, but it's also cool because you don't know everything, and characters like that can surprise you, and I thought the show did a good job of utilizing that. So I think overall, the art was pretty good, I didn't get to see much of the Spirit World stuff to be able to judge it on that, but I don't know, the ore thing was a little bit weird. I don't know what that was.
I wanted to bring that up because I think they mentioned that was like the ferryman on the river Styx, so that might be like their interpretation of Chiron.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I could maybe get behind it. It was just a little strange. I did, like, kind of remember it from the past, and it was what I was thinking about. I thought she was flying on a broom or something, but it was like a spoon-looking oar. But I think her design overall was good. You know, I like her color scheme and everything. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I really liked the style. I think it worked. I'd give it a soft to mid yay on the art.
Um, I'm a light yay on the arts and art style and animation. So I like how the characters all look distinct. I like their faces. The only thing I really have like any issues with is just kind of like, and I'm not knocking it because it's older. For an older show, it is pretty good, but it's just kind of like sometimes the lines, like I don't know, for whatever reason, like it's very hard for me to look at sometimes. I'm not really sure if it's just the fact that the lines are so thin, um, but and it's not even all of the time. It's just like a couple shots here and there that are just kind of like my eyes are just like, eh. But overall, it's like a light yay for animation and art.
Yeah, I mean it's part of that time period where they have a different they do use the different animation stuff. I forget what episode we were talking about a long time ago. Like we were talking about how
It's probably One
animation has
Piece.
changed. No, it was before that. I think it may have been like the Perfect Blue episode or a Ghibli film. We were talking about like how they
Oh,
did animation back then, like digital versus like hand drawn. I think it was. I don't know if digital if they were starting to use digital back then or if that still predated it by like so many.
92. No, I don't think they really started really hitting digital stuff and like that kind of thing until like the late 90s to early 2000s.
So yeah, it was still. I kind of have a soft spot for that type of animation and that art style, and like you could tell, people went painstakingly into each frame, and whether or not each frame is good, that all depends on how each artist does it. So I think that kind of has its own unique charm to it. And I think for a show that is close to 30 years old, I think it does. It is still enjoyable, and it still is you still be able to watch and enjoy. So yeah, I give it a yay.
All right, well, it's looking like an overall yay for art and animation. Gav, how would you like to take us into the sound and dubbing?
All right. So I think this is probably gonna be like my lowest category for the show, just because like I didn't really care for the dubbing. I like the voices kind of like were a little jarring to me. Like I know it fits his look like Kuwabara, but like I just didn't like his voice.
I think his voice is actually supposed to sound very, very different in the original sub.
Really?
I don't know.
That would help.
Yeah,
Don't know, haven't seen
That
it.
would help.
No, the thing is like I think it's like higher pitched for some reason.
Maybe.
For some reason I
Why
think
would
that's
that
what I'm
help?
recalling.
It needs
Maybe.
I don't
something
know.
else.
But I don't know. I didn't really care for the dubbing on this one. But like besides for that, like like the sound effects were like fine and stuff. I can't really remember like the score all that well. But I don't know. I'd give it like a meh because of the dubbing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really feel the dub either. I felt definitely like I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I had been watching the sub. I thought like Yusuke's voice was pretty good. And a couple of the other voices were definitely at least benign, but I really, really didn't like the blue hair girl's voice. Botan. I just felt like she was putting on a really strange accent, like she was pretending to be British, but it didn't work or something. I almost wish they like would have told her to not do that. And yeah, the red hair guy, what's his name again?
Kuwabara.
I'm sorry, Kuwabara.
It's okay. I grew up with these ones.
I'm not as familiar with the names. I'm sorry. his voice was kind of weird to me too. Like it just didn't work for me. I don't know. Apparently he's the same voice as All Might.
Yeah.
So I was
yeah.
like, wow.
That's Chris Sabat.
I love All Might's voice, but I was not feeling this one. It just did not work for
Has
me.
he come up every week now?
Maybe. He's normally good, but this was not like my preference. Overall, I was kind of like maybe a nay on dubbing. I think like I would have preferred different voices for these characters, unfortunately. But like I said, the main character at least sounded fine. I don't know. Not great.
Chippy?
So, I don't really remember the score very well. So, there's that. As far as dubbing is concerned, I agree with what Yin said. I thought Yusuke's voice was fine. Botan's was a bit I really wish she hadn't done the accent. I don't know. It just, I was like, okay, please stop talking. Because I really don't think this fits right now. Keiko was okay. Kuwabara, I feel like I actually didn't really mind his voice too much. It's a little grating, but I feel like it kind of works for the kind of character they were trying to give him. All of the other sort of like more minor voices, I thought were okay. You know, like the one Bucktooth teacher kind of really with the squeaky voice kind of fits because he's like a rat. And then just, I don't know, like I felt like they were okay. Like it's nothing really remarkable. I'm probably gonna give it a meh. Mostly just because I'm not, like, blown away or anything. And also, I can't remember your music. Darn it. Envy.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the actual score of the show, not counting the OPs and EDs, yeah, I don't remember them. I don't remember it too much. I like Yusuke's voice actor. When I found out that Kuwabara was Chris Sabat, that kind of caught me by surprise, because that's the most different I've ever heard of his voice. Because, like, I love Chris Sabat, but when you've heard his voice, you've heard his voice. So that was kind of like, wow, you actually did something different.
I'm trying to think. This might be, like, the earliest role we've seen him in so far.
Yeah, maybe. He just needed to, patent his deep voice. I'm going to be completely 100% honest. I am going to respectfully disagree with Yen and Chibi about Botan. She was actually my favorite voice actor of the show. I liked her voice a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why. I kind of, again, it was mainly because of the way she interacted with Yusuke, and I think the voice kind of worked, like toning off his rudeness and bashfulness. So, yeah, I can't really explain it. I don't know why, but I kind of liked her voice. So I'm going to give the Bucktooth teacher, yeah, I wanted to kick him off Mount Everest, but overall, I give it a yay.
Yeah, I'm like kind of in the middle of where everyone else is, I think. I think this is just one of those dubs where when it works, it works. When it doesn't sometimes. So it's a bit of a meh to a leaning towards yay. I don't have as many problems with Kuwabara's voice as I think you do. I think it works for who he is.
I think I kind of got used to it as it went along, but it's yeah. I don't know. It's
I'm a little annoyed with Botan's voice. But other than that, I think everyone, not dissimilar to like their character design and stuff, they found people to fit who the characters were, and I think that worked pretty well. So I'm leaning a little bit towards a soft yay, but again, still in that meh region because it's like it's like you're either that's good or it's why did you make that decision? So put that where you will. It's seeming to be. I actually can't tell. Where are we here?
Like, we're in meh territory, I
Meh.
think.
Meh to a lightish yay, maybe. But yeah. Who's taking us into openings and endings? Is that I was the last to go.
I think it's
that's
Yin.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, openings and endings. I gotta say, I really liked the ending of this one. It stuck out to me much more than the opening, which is interesting because I usually prefer the openings. But this ending was really jazzy. I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it a lot. The opening I thought was kind of corny. I don't know. It was all right. Maybe it would grow on me. It had some aspects. I think some of the musical aspects I liked, but some of the lyrics were just like, I'm not crazy about this. Maybe it was better. Like, I don't know if this was like they just rewrote the Japanese to be in
I think
English.
they translated it.
Yeah, so I think maybe I
Yeah.
would like it a lot more in Japanese. Maybe it would sound less corny to me, at least because I can't understand what they're saying. I don't know. But so I'd like to hear it in Japanese and see how I feel, because I did like the instrumentals. But yeah, I think the ending was good. The beginning was kind of So I'd give it a light yay to a meh for the opening and ending.
Chibi?
So for me, I actually do sort of remember this opening, at least hearing it. And I'm just like, oh, what is this song? Um, and now I realize, like, that it was from this, from a long time ago. And honestly, like, listening to the opening kind of gave me some nostalgia for, like, old English dub Inuyasha openings. It's honestly really what it reminded me of, when I started watching Inuyasha back when I was in middle school. And I thought it was okay. Nothing really spectacular. But it's an English dub opening from like the 90s, so it was fine. The ending, I liked the ending. It sounded different. I liked it. Visuals for them both. Opening was good. Ending also good. So I'm like a light. I'm a light yay on this, I think.
Yeah, as far as I mean, I've obviously heard of Yu Yu Hakusho before. It's one of the considered like one of the pioneers of the shonen genre, but I never really heard the OP and ED before. And so hearing them for the very first time, I was really impressed. Like I was like, I know this was made in the early '90s, but man, they were really into the '80s simp sound, because man, that '80s synth, I don't know what it is, but that was really groovy to me.
I
I really
almost felt it
liked.
was almost in the 70s.
What?
I almost felt like the ending had like a bit more of a funky 70s disco vibe.
Yeah, the ending had the '70s disco vibe, and the opening kind of had the '80s synth vibe to it, and I think I at least aesthetically it sounded pretty good to me. I liked it a lot, and yeah, the opening and the visuals were pretty good. So yeah, I give it a yay.
Yeah, I'm along similar lines to you on that one. Okay, I think I like the ending a little bit better, but I think they're both good. But like, yeah, and I think sometimes we bring up like visuals and stuff that sometimes come with an ending, and usually I feel like sometimes when you don't have like a lot of animation going on for your ending, sometimes that doesn't work in your favor. It still works here. It almost feels like you're just looking through album covers for like whatever the song is from, but it works. Like the still imagery with the colors and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I don't know what it was about that just kind of worked for me. I think I was like, after we watched it, I was actually listening to that on the way home. I'm like, like it gets in your head a little bit. It's nice. So I'm a yay on it.
I think the opening's okay. It's not like too bad. Like I feel like Yin kind of said that if it was in Japanese it might be like better. But it was like relaxing. but I definitely really like the ending. Like when I heard that ending, I was like, "Oh yeah, man, this is pretty good."
It's like most people skip the
pretty
endings
good.
and don't skip the openings. I'm not saying we skipped the opening here, but like we did not skip the ending.
Yeah.
No, we did not. Definitely not. But I thought the ending was really, really good. But I'd give it a yay because I like both of them. So
All right, looking like a overall yay for this. Who's leading us into final thoughts now? Is that Chibi?
Yeah, I think it's me.
Yeah.
So I'm a light yay on this. I feel like this is a show that I would probably kind of watch like intermittently. Not like really looking forward to each episode week to week. If it were currently airing. But just kind of something that like if I see it's on, I'll probably sit down and watch it. Just cause like for plot, like it seems kind of like it would be interesting sort of after these 3 episodes, because I kind of want to see where it goes after he finally gets back into his body. But I feel like it's not like a show I'm like dying to see, so it's like yeah, I give it a light yay.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same vein as Chibi. I will say though, it's kind of for me personally, it's kind of one of those shows where it's like Fairy Tale and Hunter x Hunter, where it's like if it wasn't such a big time commitment to watch all those episodes, I'd probably be in more of a hurry to binge and watch more of it. But if I had to judge it on its own merits, yeah, I would say I would want to at least see, how he gets back into his own body and then what he goes on after that. So yeah, I give it a yay, a light yay.
Yeah, Chibi, as a kid who did watch this like week to week anytime it was on, it is 100% that kind of show. But a lot of shows were like that back then, I feel like. Or maybe it was just a result of
Yeah.
it was the only way we were ever able to watch. But yeah, I'm a yay on this. I'm thinking part of it I'm like trying to internalize a little bit and trying to be like, is it because I know what's coming up, or is it because these 3 episodes really caught me? I think for the most part it's because these 3 episodes caught me. So I'm a yay on this and would like to continue.
I really liked the show. I thought it was interesting, and definitely a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. And I found myself wanting to watch more of it. Like, I definitely am interested to see, like, how Yusuke goes about getting, like, his body back, and I'm interested to meet, like, the other characters some more and see how they, like, go through character development as well, because the character development in the first 3 episodes is pretty good. So I'm like, oh, like, if that's, and, like, I don't know, like, characters is a big thing for me in shows. Like, if it has good characters, it's got me. And so I'm like, I definitely watch more of it, so I'm a yay.
Well, sounding like an overall... Oh wait, did you go?
Wow, you just skipped
I'm
me.
sorry. We go around so many times, sometimes I forget where we are. Please, don't
I'm a
mind me.
yay. I'm a yay.
That's it? No other thoughts?
Uh,
Head empty, just
Yeah.
yay.
yeah, I'd watch more. It gave me enough to want to keep going. Mostly, like Gab said, mostly the characters. So,
Alright, well, it sounded like a yay. Both of these seem, for the most part, pretty yay. Let's have them fight it out a little bit. Envy, you want to take us into plot territory and tell us who your pick for this week was?
It's kind of weird because the plot of Demon Slayer is pretty straightforward and simple. Demon attacks family, kid wants to protect, his sister and get revenge, and he's training to, get stronger. But at the same time, it's the interaction with the characters and the characters' motivation that really drives the plot forward, at least in the first 3 episodes, Whereas the plot in Yu Yu Hakusho, it's definitely a lot more out there. It takes a lot more risk, and it definitely has a lot more going on for it. You know, kid dies, he gets, you know, his spirit taken out of him, and trying to get back into his body while also trying to help others. So, in the sense, I think because there was more going on, and I think it still balanced it out pretty well, I'm going to give the slight edge in plot to Yu Yu Hakusho, although it's barely, like, just by the tiniest of margins.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling you there. It's like, do we want something like? This is not easy, and I'm trying my best to take away all the extra knowledge that I come in with for both of these shows, and I'm just taking it from where it is. Yeah, by the narrowest of margins, I think I'm going Yu Yu Hakusho on this. And I think it's simply because, like, I'm interested to see the demons and stuff in Demon Slayer. But to some degree, if I'm taking it purely from a plot perspective, I think I know where a lot of it is going. But I don't think, had I not already watched the shows already, I don't think that I would have as many expectations for where Yu Yu Hakusho would be going. And it might have a chance to surprise me just a little bit more. So, slightest edge for me, Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh boy, it's my turn.
Yep.
Oh boy. So plot, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, see, I really like the plot for both of them. I think that in the first, like, 3 episodes, though, I'd probably give it to Yu Yu Hakusho just because it's, like, establishes, like, more, I think, of, like, the get back into your body thing, like, and that might just be, like, this arc or something, because I know it's a long show, but it's, like, definitely, like, that's what we're doing, and, like, even with the him helping out Kuwabara thing, it's, like, going with his, like, vibes. It's not just, like, a pointless, like, episode. It's, like, he's vibing with the little egg thing. Like, he's doing good deeds to help out people so, like, he can get a good demon monster thing hatched from the egg to, like, let him go back into his body. Whereas, like, with Demon Slayer, like, it does have a good plot and, like, lets you know, like, what's going on right away, but, like, you don't really get, like, a whole lot because he's still in that, like, training montage, like, phase and stuff. So I don't know, like, I think they're both good, but I'd probably give it to Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, I think for me, I think Demon Slayer got me more excited about the plot right away. Like, I don't feel like I was ever bored during Demon Slayer. I don't feel like there were any dull moments for me, and maybe it's just a taste thing. But I can kind of step back and say there was more that happened in Yu Yu Hakusho in the first 3 episodes, and I think maybe there was more development for the plot, like more things progressed in that one in the first 3 episodes. So I think if I'm gonna set aside my personal, like, feelings towards it and my personal feelings towards, like, how much I found Demon Slayer exciting, I think I would probably give it to Yu Yu Hakusho. I think the plot did go somewhere maybe more so. So I would probably give it to that one.
So for me, again, I do agree with Yin. Like, I was definitely way more, like, enticed by Demon Slayer for sure. Just, like, watching it. Because I did find myself, like, sort of drifting a little bit while watching Yu Yu Hakusho. Just because, like, I'm not really, like, drawn in necessarily, but there is, like, a lot going on, and I know it's like a little bit, like, drawn out, mostly just because they do got a lot of shit to do. Um, but as far as like everything that goes on, I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho's plot just kind of flows a bit better. Whereas I feel like with Demon Slayer, as I believe Al said earlier, like it feels like every single episode there is something happening that it kind of almost feels like it's chopped up. Like this episode he's doing this thing. This episode he's doing this thing. This one he's doing this. That it just kind of feels like from like a plot flow perspective. I can't use my words right now. That I guess like for plot, I'd have to go to give it to Yu Yu Hakusho.
Well, that's pretty unanimous. Looks like Yu Yu Hakusho takes the plot points for this round, but plot ain't much if it ain't got characters in it, and I think I'm leading us off on characters, right? Did you lead us off on plot, Envy?
Did I? I forget.
Yeah, because Chippy was
Yeah,
last on
yeah.
that. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm leading off on characters.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna give it to Yu Yu Hakusho. I think we said like we're seeing just more development from the characters really early on, and I feel like I could tell you some stuff about Tanjiro. I feel like I know who Yusuke and Kuwabara are as people almost in total after 3 episodes. And I feel like that's just because I feel like again that's where their entire focus was for these first couple episodes. So yeah, I'm gonna give characters to Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, I have to agree with what you said, Al. That it's just like Yu Yu Hakusho really like established the characters well, and I thought they were very interesting, and I think that's what like is keeping me going, like, and want to see like more of the show is like the characters. Whereas like, yeah, Tanjiro, he's like good and stuff, but like he just did not like, I guess, like stand out to me as much as like Yusuke and Kuwabara did. So I would have to give Yu Yu Hakusho the edge for this one.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I preferred the characters overall in Yu Yu Hakusho. I just felt like within even the span of 3 episodes, I saw change in them and development in them that I didn't really get to see in Demon Slayer. So I would say, especially for just considering these 3 episodes, I saw a lot more to connect to and be like invested in the Yu Yu Hakusho characters. So I would give it to that one.
I'm gonna say pass. Pass.
Pass. Okay.
I mean, currently right now, it obviously really sounds like Yu Yu Hakusho's like the favored category for this, but I'm like, there's some good points that you guys have. Like, we don't really get a lot of character development with the Demon Slayer characters because, like, we don't really get to spend a whole lot of time with them, and they're all just kind of like, there's not really a lot of development there yet. But also, we do get development with the characters in Yu Yu Hakusho, but I'm just kind of not crazy about some of them. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a pass because I'm like,
Okay.
on sort of that ground.
Well, if we need a tiebreaker, we'll come back to you. Envy?
I mean, technically there's 3 for Yu Yu Hakusho, so there wouldn't be a tiebreaker. But
Exactly!
I just like to say it.
well, and, I mean, I kind of agree. I honestly, I have to scale back because I've seen all 26 episodes of Demon Slayer, and I know how much, excuse me, how Tanjiro grows as a protagonist. But for these 3 episodes, yeah, I do get his sense of, his righteousness and all that stuff. But yeah, I think there is more development for the characters of Yu Yu Hakusho, even if some of them I'm not as crazy about. So yeah, I'll give the edge to Yu Yu Hakusho.
I mean that kind of clinches it. It's we're going Yu Yu Hakusho for characters today. Characters always gotta inhabit that world, though. Gav, where are you at on world building?
Oh shit. World building. This is a. I don't know how I feel about this category. This is a
Pass?
hard one.
Would you like to pass?
Yeah, I would like to pass. I think.
You know, if you're the first to pass, you may end up being the tiebreaker.
I know.
All right. For me, I'm gonna have to give the world building to Demon Slayer. I think I understood the world a little bit better, and they gave us more of a taste of the world and how it operates. Whereas I didn't see as much from that. I didn't see as much of that from Yu Yu Hakusho right off the bat. And I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho has the potential to have a really great world, but we just haven't seen it in the first 3 episodes as much. So I'm gonna give it to Demon Slayer.
I'm also give it to Demon Slayer, mostly just because, like, their world is a lot more concise. It's a lot more enticing. Whereas Yu Yu Hakusho's, it feels like, granted, it's like the first 3 episodes, so we're still very much in the beginning stages, but I feel like it'll get fleshed out eventually, and it'll become easier to understand, but, like, I don't know, Demon Slayer's world is just a lot easier to understand. And I do just really like it, even though we haven't really been explained, like, a lot of nuances with it. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it to Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it to Demon Slayer. I just thought the world was, not only was it more appealing and more interesting to look at, but, like, I just love the designs of the world. I love the interaction that it had, and I like the mythology based on, the demons. And yeah, obviously with the first 3 episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho, we were mainly focused on Yusuke and Kuwabara, so we really didn't get to see the spirit world too much. So in that sense, Demon Slayer gets the edge. So I'll give it to Demon Slayer.
I think it's actually kind of funny that this, at least particularly for world building, that this week kind of felt to me a little bit like week 2 when Jujutsu Kaisen fought Hunter x Hunter. And I think part of that is because Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho have the same writer. I think similarly to what was going there, I'm going to go with Demon Slayer because I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho went very broad with a lot of its world building and mythology stuff, which lends itself to a lot of possibility down the line. But if we're talking about, like, getting into the world of something, we need to get in and get into it. And the Demon Slayer allows us to get in right away and understand what's going on and how the world works. Kind of like Jujutsu Kaisen did. So I'm going to give it to Demon Slayer.
Okay, then I don't have to pick.
Guess not. World.
Also,
Yep.
quick thing. When they were describing the Demon Slayer corp, there was a description of it that sort of reminded me a little bit of the Hunters Guild from Hunter x Hunter. It just, for some reason, it came back to me. I'm like, wait a minute. Why does this sound familiar? An organization that is like outside of the government that takes care of monsters?
Yeah, but this one is actually specific.
I know.
Like,
so
it's focused. Like, it makes sense somehow.
And also, I don't think the world governments are going to argue against a bunch of people that are willingly putting themselves on the line to kill bloodthirsty demons.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So, world building goes to Demon Slayer for, it seems like, a extra government organization that actually does good things, as opposed to certain other worlds that we've seen. Moving on into art and animation. Who's in charge of this one? Who's up? I think it's you.
Ian.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
This is probably the most unfair category out of all.
Yeah,
of them.
it really
This
is.
is a touch.
It's just very unfair, to be honest. I mean, Yu Yu Hakusho looks really good for its time, but fucking Demon Slayer, I mean, it just looks too amazing to compare it to, like, I don't know. I have to go with Demon Slayer. I mean, I've already gushed about the animation. It's just, I have to give it to Demon Slayer.
Chibs?
So, yeah, I mean, I'm also giving it to Demon Slayer. I am taking into account, like, the caveat of, Yu Yu Hakusho being as old as it is, but it's just like, Demon Slayer is just a lot easier on the eyes, man. Like, I can't really help it. It's just so pretty.
I'm gonna give it to Demon Slayer, but not for the obvious reason, in that it came out in 2019. Yu Yu Hakusho came out in 1992. The reason why I'm giving it to Demon Slayer is because I almost feel like the world and the animation almost acts as like a character of itself to the show. Like, it sets the atmosphere, it sets the tone right, and it almost feels like you get a sense of the world better through its art and animation and its world building. Whereas Yu Yu Hakusho, yeah, it is an interesting world, but I don't think it's the animation that sells the world. It's mainly the characters. Whereas Demon Slayer, I think the animation really helps, set the mood, set the tone, set everything else with it. So I think in that sense, that's why I'm giving it to Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I gotta give it to Demon Slayer as well. And I think part of it is one thing we didn't really mention a whole lot, and that's action scenes. Because Shonen is so much of an action genre, and we definitely got to see some fantastic action in Demon Slayer. Not nearly as much in Yu Yu Hakusho this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I gotta go Demon Slayer.
I really liked what Envy had to say about, like, the Demon Slayer and, like, the, I guess, art and animation, like, really giving to, like, the world and, like, the plot and everything. Because it does a really good job. Like, the scenery and everything is really gorgeous and it really, like, gives that atmospheric feel. So I'd have to go with Demon Slayer as well.
Did you start it?
I already started.
Oh,
Why do you
sorry.
keep forgetting me?
I'm sorry.
Aww.
So it's looking like Demon Slayer wins for animation. It's ufotable, man. It's kind of hard to beat.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to sound and dubbing. Chibi, you want to take us off on sound and dubbing?
Okay, so for dubbing, I feel like for dubbing, like, they both had voices that worked. And, like, I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho, like, I feel like there were also voices that didn't work. I'm sorry, Botan. Why'd you have to do it? But anyway, so, like, they're kind of, I feel like the dubbing wasn't bad, necessarily. Music is definitely where I'm gonna have to give points, though, because Demon Slayer's score was so good. Oh, so nice. Yeah, I'd probably give it to Demon Slayer, mostly just because the score is really great. Also, I have really no complaints about the dubbing for Demon Slayer, as far as I can recall, so...
All right, it's my turn to do the pass option.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Kind of similar to Chibi. The fact that I remember the music from Demon Slayer is a huge feather in its cap, and I didn't have any highlights for Demon Slayer's dub, but I didn't have any complaints, and we had complaints about Yu Yu Hakusho's. I think that Yu Yu Hakusho, their better voices were better than kind of the middle of the road stuff that was kind of going on in Demon Slayer, but at the same time they had some voices that did not work, and that kind of evened them out there. So yeah, it kind of comes down to the music, and music, you can't really beat Demon Slayer on that one.
Well, that I did not really, like, care for the dubbing in Yu Yu Hakusho. I mean, it wasn't, like, awful. I thought Yusuke was okay, but, like, I don't know. Like, I think I just liked the, like, I wasn't as thrown by the dubbing in Demon Slayer, so I'd go with Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I would go with Demon Slayer too, mostly because of the music. Both of the dubs I wasn't that fond of, but yeah, I didn't have as many problems with Demon Slayer's dub. But the music definitely tips it over anyway, so I'm gonna give it to Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
Envy.
I mean,
Still a pass?
the reason why it was a pass is because I enjoyed the sound and music of Demon Slayer more, but I enjoy the dubbing of Yu Yu Hakusho more. So I was like split down the middle. So that's why I was kind of like, oh no, what do I choose? So
Well, you didn't have to choose, but you know what you do have to choose? Openings and endings.
I mean, again, I'm gonna say this: Yu Yu Hakusho's opening and ED really surprised me a lot. Like it was like I liked it a lot. And normally that grooviness would have won, but I literally gave a brand new category of fuck yay to the Demon Slayer OP and ED. So yeah, I have to give it to Demon Slayer.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to pass.
Ah.
Demon Slayer's opening is great. I really love Yu Yu Hakusho's ending, and I'm having a lot of trouble. If we need a tiebreaker, I will do it.
Yeah, I have to go with Demon Slayer just because the opening is still stuck in my head.
It's so good.
And it's such a good opening. And while I do really like Yu Yu Hakusho's ending, it's just like, I don't know, because I like both. I like the ending to Demon Slayer as well too, whereas like the Yu Yu Hakusho like opening didn't really like stand out to me that much. So I think if it's like a more like a, oh well, I like both these things from Demon Slayer, but I really only like the one from Yu Yu Hakusho, then I have to go with Demon Slayer. So
Yeah, I have pretty much the same thoughts as Gav, so I'm gonna go with Demon Slayer too for those reasons.
Also Demon Slayer. It's just so catchy.
All right, I guess
didn't have to
I
pick.
don't have to pick. Sometimes that happens, but I will take us into final thoughts. It's not easy because, like, on the one hand, I've seen both of these. I've already proven that I will watch both of them. Putting it all together, God damn.
Mhm.
I passed last time, so I can't right now.
I'm assuming that your nostalgia is.
See, I'm
definitely
trying
weighing
to
in
keep
a little bit
nostalgia
on
out of
this.
it. I'm mainly trying to focus first 3 episodes because, like, both of these had strong elements in individual categories, and I'm like trying to look
Right.
at them as a whole. By like,
I mean, I just pick the one whichever one you would want to watch more. That's usually what I go with
I
this
want
category.
to watch them both, and that's the problem. Like, even though I've already seen both of them, I want to rewatch both of them at this point.
Ah, gotcha.
I am going to give, this hurts a little bit because I have to choose. I am going to give the slightest edge to Demon Slayer right now because, and the reason why is like, even though like I think definitely Yu Yu Hakusho edges it out for plot and characters and stuff like that, I think when you add those other elements of the animation, the music, the atmosphere, and a lot of other things, it enhances the things that it's lacking a little bit. So like the plot is the plot is heightened by the music and the animation. The characters are heightened by that a little bit too. It's, I think Yu Yu Hakusho is more strongly written. but it doesn't have that extra oomph to back it up from the other categories to really bring it over the top. I want to watch both, but if I'm gonna have to go with like what I immediately want to watch, it's gonna be Demon Slayer.
I mean, I'm the same way. I think I'd have to agree with everything that you said, Al, so I'd also go with Demon Slayer.
I think overall it's a little tough for me too, because I agree that certain categories like Yu Yu Hakusho stronger and vice versa. But I will say I've watched Demon Slayer the whole way through twice already, so that goes to show how much I really like watching Demon Slayer and how much I'm always excited to watch it. So, and I am excited to also like maybe try more of Yu Yu Hakusho, but I think overall my excitement about Demon Slayer kind of overpowers it, so I would go with Demon Slayer.
I feel for me that that out of the two of these to watch and pick up again, I would definitely pick Demon Slayer, mostly just because I was far more like enthralled while I was watching it. So I feel like that's my vote.
Yeah, pretty much everything that Al was saying in the beginning about the individual categories and the fact that, the art, animation, sound, helped push Demon Slayer. I want to see what happens, like, if I never saw both before, I would want to see what happens in both shows, but I think the more excitement of Demon Slayer and, like, the tension, I think that's what kind of would push me over the edge more to watch Demon Slayer more. So, yeah, by the slimmest of margins on these first 3 episodes, I'll give it to Demon Slayer.
And it's looking like with that, Demon Slayer does take the day. A very tough fought battle,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, overall, it came out on top. Demon Slayer will go on to the second round of competition, where it will fight My Hero Academia in episodes 4 through 6.
Damn.
You guys are gonna have fun that week, I bet.
Oh, great.
choose.
Exam week. It's exam week.
Oh god, exam week.
In both shows.
It's gonna be rough.
Yep. Meantime, though, we have our winner, so we won't talk about them right now. But Yu Yu Hakusho is definitely worth a watch. And I don't know what to gush about. You know what? I'm gonna take it like this, because like I do just want you guys to watch it. I don't want to go into a ton of spoilers right now. I will say this, like the stuff you guys are talking about, where it has potential with like characters, plot, world building, all that sort of stuff. It all happens. It all happens.
I mean, I would assume
it's all good.
It's a long show.
Oh, it is, and it works, and it's got like I think the Dark World tournament, that was probably the first tournament arc I ever saw as a kid, and it was fantastic. It's everything you want in a shonen tournament. It's got like it's the main thing you want is like the characters fighting against people that they have no business going up against, and the odds are so against them, and like you get to see so many random, out of nowhere, they're fighting like the forces of hell, and like everybody's got a different power, and every single new fight is a new and insane thing. It's really great, but like I don't know. I don't want to go into like extreme details. I really want you guys to see this, and I want to impress upon the audience. Go see it. It's good. This is a show that, despite losing here today, totally holds up. Do you guys have any questions? We can take this like the Hunter x Hunter thing. Like, do you guys have any questions that you want specifics about?
No, I want to learn on my own.
All right. I mean, if that's not a good endorsement, I don't know what is. But again, winner this week, Hunter x Hunter. So what?
Hunter x Hunter.
I got too many things on my brain. I got green people in my head. Been a lot of green lately.
People in my head.
I got abducted last night. Leave me alone. Anyway, we got to talk about next week. So next week
Yeah.
we had a pair of green-clad supernatural fighting individuals. We didn't get to supernatural fighting in Yu Yu Hakusho yet, but you know, next week we got two very loud screaming individuals who want to be the best that there ever was in their particular worlds. Next week we're going to be watching the first 3 episodes of Black Clover and Naruto. So strap in.
So in other words, the person that started it, and then the person who said, "Hey, can I copy your homework?"
I thought that was Boruto.
No, that's Boruto's son. I mean, that's Naruto's son.
Yeah. Boruto doesn't have a son. I don't know if Boruto has a son. I haven't watched that far in the series. Anyway, yeah. So come back next week for Black Clover and Boruto's dad. Boruto's dad, the childhood years. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!